Space is the future.
Well, hello there. Now let's make your brain bigger. President Trump is hoping to make space great again, and NASA may be getting a rocket full of cash to do just that. A Trump advisor says the president is considering another manned mission out of Earth's orbit, which would be the first since 1972. A great year. Is that what the space agency should be focusing on? Let me welcome back theorist and professor of theoretical physics at the City College of New York, Dr. Michio Kaku. He has his own NASA wish list, and you actually know what you're talking about, so I'm going to defer to you. So let's say this is the most excited administration about space exploration that we've seen in decades. So where should we put our resources?
Well, first of all, NASA has been criticized as being the agency to nowhere. It boldly goes where everyone has gone before. The Chinese want to put a flag in the moon by 2025 and leave us in the dust. So here comes Donald Trump. He wants to fast-track the moon and the Mars program.
Yeah.
If we're going to be going to the moon anyway by 2021, why not go to the moon in his first term and in his potential second term on to Mars?
All right, so, I took a class in high school called Science, Technology, and Society. Society demands it, technology can provide it, and science asks and answers the most important questions. So my question is, should we go for things that are interesting, or should we go for things that are important?
I think we should do both, because look at the space program. All the electronics that we see around us, the micro miniature chips, the lasers, the internet, all of that in some sense is a byproduct of the space program.
Yeah.
This conversation is being carried by satellites around the world. And so it's all because of the space program that made possible microchips, made possible the internet, space satellites, telecommunications.
But that can be advanced further and faster by private space exploration. And, we've talked about a partnership between the government and some of these private companies, but the private sector, that's really where the innovation is, especially when there's a market that's asking and forcing these solutions.
That's right. Take a look at Elon Musk. Here's a guy who comes in from nowhere and injects all sorts of energy, vitality, and vision that we haven't had in the space program. He wants to go to Mars by 2024.
Is that at the top of your list? What's the most important thing? If you were going to sit down with the president and he said, all right, Dr. Kaku, what do we absolutely need to spend our money on? What would you tell him?
Well, if I had a wish list as a physicist, I want to go to the stars. The first starship might be possible. We've looked at the numbers. We have a bank of laser beams that fire away at a parachute that carries a small microchip to near the speed of light.
Wow.
And we reach the nearest stars in just 20 years. And so this is doable with today's technology, going to the stars. Of course, it's not going to be the Enterprise. It's going to be a chip this big. But hey, you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, right? We're going to have little tiny humans, maybe gymnasts on board. Dr. Kaku, thank you so much. Love having you here. Thank you.
In space, the United States is going to do Colonel Glenn proud. We are finally going to lead again. You see what's happening. You see the rockets going up left and right. You haven't seen that for a long time. Very soon we're going to Mars. You wouldn't have been going to Mars if my opponent won. That I can tell you. You wouldn't even be thinking about it. Space is a war-fighting domain, just like the land, air, and sea.
We may even have a Space Force. Develop another one, Space Force.
You will be part of the 5 proud branches of the United States Armed Forces: Army, Navy, Marines, Air Force, and the Coast Guard. And we're actually thinking of a 6th, and that would be the Space Force. Does that make sense? The Space Force, General. You probably haven't even heard that. I'm just telling you now. This is perhaps because we're getting very big in space, both militarily and for other reasons. And we are seriously thinking of the Space Force. And you'll join the greatest force for peace and justice the world has ever known.
Space is the future.
Or is it all a hoax?
Space is tomorrow.